we are looking at number 6 from the homework, let me just put a disclaimer on number 6. The directions are not very good, because look at the directions. It says M is the midpoint of AB. So we're drawing our picture. Oh yeah, we've got AB, we've got M. We put tick marks because it's the midpoint. So that's our picture. Find AM, MB, and AB. Draw a diagram. Okay. So it says AB is 50. Honestly, because these are poor directions, it should have said find X. I already know AM, what is it? 25. MB, 25. And AB is 50. So I actually already know all of these. But because you're probably asking me to solve for X, I will go ahead and solve for X. But number 6 you could have done in 1 minute, right? Less than a minute. All right, I'll solve it just for fun. Now, because M is a midpoint, technically I could set those equal. X squared and 5x. Could set them equal. But I bet you want to see a factoring problem, so I'll solve this the other way that it can be solved, and I'll say part plus part equals whole. I know this is a factoring problem because first of all it's x squared, so I know it's going to have 2 answers, and second of all it has a middle term, an x value, so I know I do have to factor. To factor, you have to first set it equal to 0. Do not factor until your equation has been set equal to 0. Alright, so to factor, we do something like this. We put our x's here, and then we go to the side and we brainstorm. So we've got 50, and we think of what can multiply to get 50? 25 and 2, what else? 5 and 10. Okay, we're waiting until we find a pair that I can make a 5 out of. Can I make a 5 out of a 25 and a 2 by adding or subtracting? No. 25 plus 2, 25 minus, no. I can't make a 5 out of it. Can I make a 5 out of a 5 and a 10? Yes, of course I can. Okay? So I want it to be a positive 5. I want it to be a positive 5. So out of the 2, I'm going to make the bigger one positive. Plus 10 minus 5. So x is negative 10 and 5. You set them equal to 0. X plus 10 equals 0. Subtract 10 from both sides, you get negative 10. X minus 5 equals 0. Add 5 to both sides, and x is 5. So there are 2 answers for x. But when you plug them both in, you're still going to get AM is 25 and MB is 25. But there are 2 answers. 2 answers for x. Sorry, that's why we're going to throw one of them out. That's why. So when you have a quadratic and you get 2 answers, sometimes you keep both of them. Let me show you. Sometimes you keep both answers, and sometimes one answer does not make sense. So like on number 9, that answer did not make sense. It didn't make a positive length because length has to be positive, so we throw it out. The same is true on this one. If I plug 5 in, I'm good. 5 squared, 25. 5 times 5, 25. But if I plug negative 10 in, 5 times negative 10, oh no, that's negative 50, and that's 100. Now, do you agree that 100 plus negative 50 is 50? Yeah. Yes, I can get a 50 out of that, but you cannot have a negative segment. So you actually throw that one out. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to look at number 8. It says BC is 2x squared, AC is 64, and AB is equal to BC. Cool. So we have a midpoint formula problem on our hands. Not midpoint formula, a midpoint problem on our hands. Because we know B is the midpoint of AC because of this information right here. So I have a midpoint, and I'm given a half, and I'm given a whole. The half is 2x squared, and the whole is 64. We are not going to set those equal. We have 2 choices. We can double the 2x squared, or we can divide the 64 by 2. We can double or we can half. Double or half. Okay? So, I like working with smaller numbers. So I'm going to say 2x squared equals 32. I'm going to divide this in half. 32. You get half, and you get half. AB gets half, and BC gets half. Okay? Now we just need to solve this problem. Divide by 2. X squared equals 16. The opposite of squaring is square rooting. The square root of 16 is plus or minus 4. End of story. Okay? Number 9. SE is 2x. EC is x squared. And FC is 24. This one is not a midpoint problem. This is a segment addition problem. We have a whole definition in our notes that says what segment addition is. So I'm going to do part plus part equals whole. I know right away that that's a quadratic. Number 1, it's got an x squared. Number 2, it has an x value. That's called a middle term. That means I am going to have to factor this. So in order to factor, I need to bring everything to one side and put it in a nice pretty order. So I'm going to rewrite this. X squared plus 2x minus 24 equals 0. That good? I moved everything to one side and I put it in order, descending order. Okay. We can go straight to our parentheses and we can factor. That's how I start out. I know it's x and x because those are the only things that multiply to get x squared. Okay. Now I'm going to brainstorm things that multiply to get 24. 2 and 12, 8 and 3. You can always stop and see how it's going. 6 and 4. I need two numbers that I can form a 2 out of. 2 and 12. I can't form a 2 by adding or subtracting those. 8 and 3, can I make a 2 out of that? 8 minus 3, 8 plus 3. Nope. 6 and 4, you are our chosen one. You are the winner. I want to make a positive 2. So once again, we want the bigger one to be positive. So I'm going to do plus 6 and minus 4. 6 minus 4 is 2. So we're good. Plus 6 minus 4. All right, so when we solve, this equals 0. This equals 0. So x is negative 6 and 4. Last step. Do my answers make sense? Do they? So I take it and I have to plug it in. I'm going to try my negative 6. I'm going to plug it in here. I'm going to plug it in here. Negative 6 squared is 36. I'm going to put a smile. We can have a segment with length 36. That's good. Okay, negative 6 times 2. Oh, no. Negative 12. We cannot have a segment with a negative length. It's not possible. We don't have that in math. So we scratch that out. You're no longer a correct answer. Sorry, negative 6, we kick you out. So 4 is the only correct answer. Sometimes you keep both answers, sometimes you don't.